Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. My name is Neff, and I'll be showing you guys step by step on how I color this caricature using a range of different colors from my watercolor palette, along with a 3/4 acrylic flame brush. Starting off, looking at the reference, I will begin starting from left to right. We're starting with the brother first. Right now, I'm just trying to get the shading tone. And what I'm using here is I'm mixing a little bit of brown with a little bit of blue just to get the shadows. Also gonna add a little bit of red, a little bit of blue, till I get the right tone. Again, looking at the reference, looking at the photo, trying to match, or at least come close to the shading. A little bit of red, a little bit of blue, along with the brown. Trying to pick up that shade. So I'll be applying the shadows now. Going under the darker areas. Right now I'm going above the eye, on the eyelids. Just going to apply those strokes, and I'm going to let it dry it in a little bit before blending. Again, just going over the eyelids, under the nose, under the cheeks. Again, always going back to that photo, trying to match it as close as I can. Now I'm going to go, it seems like the light is coming from the left side, so I'm going to apply shadow on the right side of the face. Right, now at this point, I'm not going to apply more paint. I'm just trying to now pull and stretch that paint that I already applied to the paper. By spreading it, it gives me more of a shadow effect. I am going to add a little bit of water and continue to spread. Again, I'm not applying more colors now, more paint. I'm just spreading with water all the shadows or those strokes that I applied earlier. Just going around the lip, just creating that shadow effect. Alright, I'm going to let it dry there for a minute. And while it dries, I'm going to move on to the little girl's face. With her, I'm just going to use plain brown. I'm going to apply those shadows. Again, starting with above the left eye. Connecting that eyelid to the bridge of the nose, a little bit under the eye. Now moving to the right eye. Again, right now, what I'm focusing on is making sure that I get the shadowing right, or at least close to the photo, as close as I can to the photo. Right now I'm just applying the paint. I'm not doing any blending as of yet. I'm just gonna let the paint just sit there for a minute. Just let it sink in into the paper. And now with just water, I'm going to start spreading that paint. So again, I'm not using any paint, just water. All right, so from here I'm going to go back to the boy, and now with just a plain brown, I'm going to go over the entire face. So at this point I'll be covering pretty much everything, even the shadows. Once it dries, you're going to see that shadowing come up just a bit. It's going to give it like a mid-tone. And then once that dries, we're just going to go ahead and go over with a darker brown and create those darker shadows. Okay. Now with the little girl, we're going to go back, and now I'm going to use just the brown with a little bit of this yellow color. Okay, and again, I'm going to apply it over the entire face. All right, just going to let that dry for a minute. While that dries, I'm going to go ahead and color in her shirt. Her shirt, we don't need to do blending. I'm just going to go with a solid pink color. The advantages of this 3/4 flat brush is that you get so much coverage. Especially if you're doing retail caricatures and you're using watercolors, you can get your coloring done a lot quicker, which allows you to get more orders done. So we just got the pink there for the shirt. We're gonna let that dry. And while I have her picture pulled up, I'm gonna go ahead and color in the hair. So for the hair, I'm gonna use black and brown. Get a darker brown. And I'm just gonna go ahead and fill it in. I'm going to go a little bit darker. So again, just grabbing some brown and a lot of black. All right. I'm going to go back to the little boy, and I'm going to just go with black over the hair. just plain black. While I have black picked out, I'm going to go ahead and do his eyebrows. Alright, now let's go ahead and move down to the shirt. So I already have black here. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to kind of create that grayish color of his shirt. Again, not that much blending or shading on the shirt. I'm just filling it in at this point. Looks like I got a little bit of brown there. Let me just grab more blue and a little bit of black. All right, so I've given the face enough time to dry up. So now we're gonna go ahead and go over with darker shadows. We're gonna start with the boy first. And I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to the blue, the brown, and I'm gonna start adding blue just to kind of create that darker color for the deeper shadows. Okay, that's good. That's a good tone there. And I'm going to go back to the top of the eyelid. It seems to be the darker parts of the face. Actually, I'm going to water it down just a bit. I'm going to go back under the nose, under the cheek. Just touching up around the darker areas. Again, I'm just trying to come as close as I can to the photo with the shading and all the coloring. All right, so now I'm just going to back on spreading that the darker color that I applied. Just going around the edges of the stroke, just water and spreading it out a little bit, so the lines of the stroke doesn't look as hard in the drawing. Going to add a little more shadow to the side of the face here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of red to the lips. Just a little bit. Now I'm going to use the same red to do, see on the photo, I see a little bit of his gums. So go ahead and just add that with the corner of the brush. All right, let's move on to the little girl, and we're gonna do the darker shadows on her as well. So again, I'm just going with plain brown, just plain brown. And again, I'm gonna go back to the darker corners of the face. I'm gonna add a little bit of blue to the brown to make it a little darker. Just going over the eyelids, under the nose, cheeks, under the bottom lip, under the chin, side of the ear, and again the light coming from left to right. I'm going to apply shadow on the right side of the face. Now with water again, I'm just going back to those strokes that I just applied, and I'm going to spread them out just around the edges so they don't look as hard. They look more blended when you go back with just a brush and a little bit of water. I'm just going to let that dry, and I'm going to go back and add a little bit of red to her lips. Let that dry for a minute, and while that dries, I'm going to go ahead and do the names. Go ahead and do the names. I'm going to do blue for the M, just using the side of the brush. Nice and quick, and I'm gonna do pink, her letter. Awesome. I'm gonna do the and. I'm gonna add green. I think it matches the colors I already have there. Also going to use a little bit of green for the background too, green and yellow, to kind of complement their skin. Right now I'm going to go with just green. And using the brush flat on the paper, I'm gonna go from bottom, going up like this, from bottom to the top, going like this, stretching that color up and down, just lightly. I don't have too much water on the brush. I'm using the brush kind of dry, as you can see, those little nice strokes that you get from the dry brush. So again, I'm going from the bottom up with a dry brush, just a little bit of water. Gives you those nice strokes there. Now I'm gonna do the same thing from top to bottom, but using yellow. Yellow color. Went a little bit on her hair, but it's okay. Watercolors, as long as you don't let it dry, you can just go with just water and just wipe it right out. Just water. A little bit of yellow down here. See, it seems the faces are pretty much dry. I'm gonna go back and just do some touch-ups around him, just kind of soften a little bit around the edges of that dark shadow I applied earlier. Just water and just spreading it a little bit around the edges. And give it about 5 minutes, let it dry there for 5 minutes. So now that the picture is dry, I'm gonna go ahead and apply a little bit of highlights using a Sharpie white brush pen. This is like an acrylic marker with white. And looking at the photos, I'm just going to add a little bit of highlights. Once I apply the highlights, I like to go over with the finger and just kind of blend them in a little bit. Same girl, just got like some highlights there. I don't usually do this on caricatures when I do retail, unless I don't have anybody else waiting. If I don't have another order waiting, then I take my time and I add as much detail and highlight and all of that, just to make it nicer, prettier. All right, and that is all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, follow our YouTube channel, give it a like, thumbs up, and share. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one.